Power in prison. Does it really exist? What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. Power in prison, man. Power in prison is very tricky, especially here in California. I don't know how it is in any other system. I don't know the get down the program in these other states. And I will say that in this story, things have changed in California. I'm going to be talking about how things used to be before the Big Four was let out of the shoe. Before the Big Four was let out of the shoe, at least for the Southerners, there used to be a system in place, the yavero system. The yavero was the guy that held the keys, the way Wes Watson likes to say. Meaning, he was in charge of our car. He was in charge of the Southern ride, right? And the yavero usually would have one or two dudes that he trusted and he would bounce ideas off of, right? But they held no power, and all responsibility for every decision on the yard, for how the yard was being ran, everything fell on the yavero. And as you can imagine, just from being out here in the workplace, you can be somebody's coworker, and that coworker gets a promotion and becomes your boss and turns into a tyrant. Same thing applies with yaveros. There would be good yaveros, and then there would be tyrants. Dudes that didn't understand that, the day before you got the llaves and the day after you got your llaves, you're the same dude. What changed was the responsibilities that you have. Now your name is stamped on everything. Now everything goes through you. You have a lot of headaches and a lot of responsibilities, but you're still the same dude. Unfortunately, some dudes thought that becoming the yavero meant that they were basically made. And they would act like that. And usually those were the yaveros that would be removed violently. And it always created a lot of chaos. But I'm not going to get into all that. Now I want to get into what happened. The next system that was put in place was the mesa system. The mesa system was put in place to try to eradicate tyrants. Because now, on the mesa system, it had to be an odd number. Usually, the mesas were 3 to 5 members. Okay? And not members meaning made men. Those individuals were still in Pelican Bay shoe, Corcoran shoe, Tehachapi shoe, but mainly Pelican Bay. The meseros, as they're called, the guys on the mesa were referred to as meseros, right? There was going to be 3 to 5. My experience was 5. Every one of them obviously was seasoned, was tipped up, and there's a reason for that. You don't want to have dudes on the mesa that can't get in contact with anyone, because then you're basically acting like a yavero, and that's not going to work. It's not going to be accepted or respected. So you would have the mesa would, convene any issues that needed to be, we'll say, adjudicated, to be voted on, would come before the mesa. And it would be presented by whoever was presenting it. And each mesero would give his opinion on it. And then there would be a vote. And the majority ruled. And that's why it had to be an odd number. So there was no ties. There could never be a tie. If you were one of the meseros that disagreed and you were outvoted, you are still a part of that decision. You can't later say, well, hey, Holmes, I wasn't with it. I was against that. Nah, Charlie. You will lose support of the other meseros and probably run into a bad day. Now, I want to make sure that people understand this. When you had llaveros or then the mesa system, if you were a llavero or you were a mesero, that didn't mean you were the most powerful dude on the yard. That meant you had all the responsibilities of the yard. That meant you were basically dictating the program, and you were going to be held accountable for anything that was done wrong. But there could be other cats on the yard that have way more juice, but they don't want to have the political headache. And so I'll give you an example. When I went from Pelican Bay Shoe to New Folsom, and I went to Sea Facility, the second time I was in New Folsom, they had a llavero there, and he had his other two. These dudes, it was a weird setup because it was still the llavero system until a little bit after that. But these three dudes decided they were going to work together and vote on everything together, right? Well, when I got down there, I've told this story. Within 2 weeks, there was like 9 of us that came down from the Bay. This was after the riot in the Bay. We did our shoot term, and then we came down. These dudes were very concerned about me stepping in. And so I approached them because things weren't right there. And I've told a story where their own bloqueros, the guys taking care of the blocks for them, came running to me and my camaradas like, look, Holmes, we know you vatos are probably going to start having everybody hit, and we don't want to have nothing to do with it. And so they were running us down on everything. That were basically spying for us, letting us know what these dudes' concerns were, regarding us. So I approached them by myself. I said, hey, Holmes, can I holler at you guys? They said, yeah, what's up? And I let them know, listen, Holmes, you guys have the responsibility here. You guys have the headache here. I'm going to be right here off to the side, making my feria, taking care of who I got to take care of. I don't want your job. You can have that. But there are things that need to be fixed here, and they need to be fixed pretty fast, eh? And I gave them what I saw needed to be fixed. I had to, almost on a daily basis, I had to tighten the screws on them a little more. Because things that could have been done with one huila, sent out to the camaradas, sent out to the bloqueros, and the bloquero can make sure the porter goes door to door to all the camaradas, they weren't being done. And so I would have to pull them over like, hey, what's happening here? Oh, no, hey, we're on it. Then one of them catches a transfer, went to Centinela. Then mysteriously, the other two get sent to B facility. Right? Weird. But they left their homeboy in charge. And getting back to what I was saying is, those three individuals, they had the responsibility of the yard, but they didn't have as much juice as I had. And they knew it, and that's why they were concerned. And that's why they thought I was just going to come. I was going to put a wrecking crew together and, whack these dudes. But that one thing about me back then, and I don't want to get too, I'm already, up on that line that I don't like to cross. But I will say this. One of the reasons why I was able to maneuver the way I was is because I always did what was right for the camaradas as well as the legends. I knew from being around the legends, discussing things, having in-depth conversations, they knew how I thought, and I knew how they thought. And I knew for me or any camarada to flex on another soldado and have him taken down, what it does, it creates a whole lot of headaches for the legends, because that soldado has a tío that is going to be upset because now not only did his soldado get touched, but now his feria got fucked with. So he's going to want some answers. And he's going to get at my tío. He's going to want to know who okayed this for this shit to happen. So whenever I would bump heads, or there was the probability of bloodshed or bumping heads with another individual that was connected, my favorite approach was always this. Look, Holmes, obviously you and I are not seeing eye to eye on this, right? And we both have obligations. Instead of ruining those obligations, how about we do this? You send a letter to everybody that you're in contact with, that you feel you need to get at over this situation. Let them know what's happening. And I'll do the same thing. And we'll let them decide what they want to be done. Whatever they decide, you know is law. And I never lost in one of those. I never lost, because the legends knew, like, this vato doesn't bring us headaches. He brings feria and no headaches. So they trusted my judgment. And it had gotten to the point, well, I don't want to get into what kind of authority I was given, but I was given, I've mentioned it before, what some people used to call, jokingly, the Aztec gold card. And it created envy in a lot of people. But the thing was, and always should be for anyone in that lifestyle, you're still a nobody, eh? Like, I knew I had inherited a lot of responsibility. I had been entrusted with a lot of authority, but I wasn't a legend. Anyone is expendable in that life, including legends. It's just a whole lot harder to do that with them. They have to do that. That's within their thing. I don't discuss their business. I'm talking about things that are no longer in place, but were. And I always knew, no matter what I'm given, I'm the same as you. To another camarada, I'm the same as you, eh? And I'm going to treat you the same as me. I don't care if you just came in. You're 1 year in on your term and you got 1,000 years to do. You're my equal. And I knew that. And I treated you that way. And so the question is there really power in prison? I could have played chess with men's lives. But I never abused that. Inside those walls, man, it's very treacherous. It's very cutthroat. And I don't think that would ever change. There is power in there. And I hear these people that like to talk bad about people behind the walls. And I may do a video on that. But that's a world that has its own morals and ethics and values, man. And anybody that's never been there should never speak on it. Shouldn't be judging those people. They're doing what they got to do to keep their foothold, whatever it is, inside a world of brutality. It's a trip how some people on this, I may have to do a video on this, but when people say, oh, Dubs calls them legends. It's what is that fucking weird ass word they use now? I can't remember the word. But people say it's weird to see a man call them legends. There's different definitions of the word legend. Whatever your definition is yours. Don't apply that to me. I know why I call them what I call them. I don't use the names of organizations because the organizations that have been identified by the CDC, those men that they say are a part of them don't even admit the existence of it. So why should I? I still, when I'm doing these videos, I apply what I was schooled in to the videos. Those people, I see the majority of the guys that throw around the names of these organizations aren't under those organizations, never were under them, and a lot of them aren't even from this state. I think if they had done any time and really been around those people, they would have a different level of respect. I hear people say, those guys are broke and they don't have nothing. And I'm like, you really don't understand the thing that you're talking about. But anyways, that's my video for today, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.